The wind was cold, and the night was silent. Deep inside a ruined battlefield bunker, an alien girl named Rayla lay on the ground with her hands tied behind her back. Her silver skin was covered with dust and dried blood. She could barely breathe. Every part of her body hurt. Her people, the Varniks, had always told her one thing: humans show no mercy. If they catch you, they kill you. Rayla had believed it all her life. And now, captured and injured, she waited for that moment. The moment a human would enter and end her life. A soft metallic sound echoed through the bunker. Someone was opening the door. Rayla's heart raced. Her breath stopped. Her eyes closed slowly. Footsteps entered, quiet but firm. A shadow moved across the floor, coming closer and closer. Rayla tried to sit up, but her legs were too weak. She fell back, down. Then she heard a human voice, calm, deep, "Don't move." Her blood went cold. The human stepped into the dim light. He looked almost ordinary, worn military jacket, dirt on his hands, tired eyes. But in Rayla's mind, he was death walking towards her. His name was Evan, though she didn't know that. Yet, he held a weapon, a small plasma pistol. It glowed faint blue in his hand. Rayla shut her eyes tightly. If he was going to kill her. She didn't want to see it, but Evan didn't shoot. He bent down and looked at her face, her bruised cheek, her bleeding forehead, her shaking breath. "You're hurt," he said softly. Rayla froze. What kind of human says that to an enemy? Evan, put the gun on the floor. Rayla opened her eyes in shock. No human would drop their weapon near an alien prisoner. It made no sense. He slowly reached toward her hands. Rayla tried to pull away, but the rope burned her skin. "Easy," he whispered. "I'm not here to harm you." Rayla blinked in confusion. Was this a trap? Was he playing with her before killing her? Nobody had ever shown kindness to a Varnik's prisoner before. Evan pulled out a small knife, not to attack, but to cut her. Ropes. The blade slid through the bindings, and the tension snapped. Rayla's hands were free. She stared at him, shocked and suspicious. Her people had always told her humans were violent, cruel, heartless. But this one was the opposite. Evan noticed her confusion. "I'm not your enemy," he said. "You're injured. If you stay here, you'll die." Rayla didn't believe him. Why would a human care? When she didn't move, Evan opened his backpack and took out a small medical kit. He sat beside her, slowly, carefully, as if she were a frightened animal. "I'm going to clean your wounds," he said. Rayla shook her head. "Why?" she whispered. Evan paused. He didn't answer right away. Maybe he didn't know how to explain it. Maybe he didn't owe her an explanation. Instead, he spoke gently, "Because it's the right thing to do." Rayla watched him as he cleaned the blood on her forehead with warm water. The touch burned at first, but then it felt soothing. No human had ever touched a Varniks like this, with care. Outside, loud alien drones passed by, searching for signs of life. Evan didn't flinch. He worked quickly but calmly, treating each wound with surprising patience. Rayla tried to sit up. Her legs trembled. The room spun around her. Evan supported her back with his arm. "Don't push yourself," he said. The warmth of his hand through her torn suit confused her even more. "Why are you helping me?" She whispered again. This time Evan answered. "I've seen too much death," he said quietly. "I'm tired of it." Rayla stared at him. His eyes looked honest, sad, human emotion she had never seen up close. Moments later, an explosion shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. Evan's head snapped toward the door. "They're close," he said. He stood up and picked up his gun again, this time not pointing it at her. "We need to move." Rayla's eyes widened. "We?" Evan nodded. "If they find you here, they'll kill you. If they find me with you, they'll kill me." "So yes, we..." Rayla tried to stand. Her legs gave out. She fell forward straight into Evan's arms. He caught her easily. "Careful," he said softly. Rayla looked up at him. For the first time, she saw something her people never taught her to see in humans: compassion. "You don't have to trust me," Evan said. "But I'm not leaving you to die." He lifted her arm over his shoulder and helped her walk toward the back exit, a small emergency tunnel, half buried in rubble. Every step felt unreal to Rayla. A human was helping her escape. A human was saving her life. The world she knew was breaking apart. Before they left the bunker, Rayla whispered, "Why didn't you kill me?" Evan looked at her with tired, honest eyes. "Because someone has to stop this hatred," he said. "Maybe it starts with us." The tunnel swallowed them in darkness, and Rayla realized this human was not a monster. He was something far more dangerous to her people's lives. A human with a heart. The tunnel was narrow, dark, and filled with dust. Rayla could barely see anything except the soft glow coming from Evan's small wrist light. Her legs were shaking, and every few steps she stumbled. Each time, Evan caught her arm without saying a word. To Rayla, that silence was confusing. Humans were known for shouting, threatening, and acting wild. But this one was quiet, serious, almost gentle. As they moved deeper into the tunnel, a loud sound echoed above them, metal striking metal. Enemy drones. Evan stopped instantly and signaled Rayla to stay silent. His hand hovered near his weapon, ready. Rayla held her breath. For the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of a human. She was afraid with one. The noise faded after a long minute. Evan exhaled slowly and continued forward. "Why are they searching?" Rayla whispered. "They think you're dead," Evan replied. "If they find out you're alive, they'll send hunters." Rayla frowned. "Why would my own people kill me?" Evan looked at her with calm eyes. "You know why. They don't want anyone questioning the lies they tell." Rayla had no reply. Because deep inside, she knew he was right. The first light of safety. After several minutes, they reached the end of the tunnel. Evan pushed a rusted metal plate upward, revealing a small opening. Moonlight poured in. Cool air touched Rayla's face. The world outside felt strangely peaceful. They crawled out into a forest filled with tall black trees and bioluminescent insects dancing in the air. The night sky stretched above them, full of stars. Far in the distance, small fires burned where battles had taken place. Rayla stood on shaky feet. Evan kept his hand near her in case she fell. "What now?" she asked. "We moved to my safe point," Evan said. "A few kilometers from here." Rayla stared at him. "You risk everything, for me. You don't even know me." Evan shrugged lightly. "You don't need to know someone to do the right thing." His words confused her more than anything she had seen. A new fear suddenly. A bright red laser line appeared on the ground near their feet. Evan saw it first. "Down!" He grabbed Rayla and pushed her behind a fallen tree, just as a sniper bolt tore through the air, burning a hole in the dirt where they had stood. Rayla gasped. "Varnick snipers!" Evan nodded. "They're fast today. Move." He helped her run, weaving through the trees. More red lasers flashed past them. Rayla's heart pounded so hard she could hear blood rushing in her ears. "We're too slow," she cried. "Then stay behind me," Evan said. He picked her up without warning, without hesitation. Rayla froze in shock. No one had ever held her like that. Her people carried injured soldiers like cargo, not like something fragile. But Evan held her carefully, like she mattered. He sprinted through the trees, dodging laser shots with skilled movements. His breath was heavy, but his grip on her remained steady. Rayla stared at him from his arms. Why do you care if I live?" He didn't look at her. "Because someone cared when I didn't deserve it," he said. "Now it's my turn." Before she could ask more, they reached a rocky ridge. Evan placed her down gently and pulled out a small device. A cloaking screen activated, spreading a shimmering blue field over them. the light bent. The world around them disappeared. Even the sniper's lasers stopped. Ryla looked around amazed. "We're invisible?" "Mostly," Evan said. "Enough to get a break." The moment of realization, they sat down behind a rock. Rayla's breathing was slow and heavy. Evan took out a water flask and handed it to her. She hesitated. He pushed it closer. "Drink." Ryla took a small sip. The cool water slid down her dry throat. It felt strange. Not the water, but the kindness. "Evan," she finally said. Saying his name for the first time, though, he hadn't told her. She had read it on his uniform. "Why didn't you leave me in the bunker? You could have escaped alone." Evan leaned back against the rock. His face looked tired but honest. "Because leaving someone to die changes you," he said. "And I don't want to become something I hate." Ryla looked at him for a long moment. For the first time she felt something dangerous. Not fear, not anger, but trust, a soft trust, growing like a small spark in the dark. The night grew quieter as Evan and Ryla waited under the shimmering cloaking field. The world outside the invisible dome was dark and still, except for the faint red glow of distant fires. Rayla sat with her back against a rock, trying to steady her breathing. Her body still hurt, but something inside her had changed. For the first time, she wasn't thinking about dying. She was thinking about him, the human who refused to kill her. When the danger finally passed, Evan stood and lowered the cloaking screen. "We should move," he said softly. "My hideout isn't far." Ryla nodded and followed, though slowly. Every few steps her legs weakened. Evan didn't comment, but he stayed close enough to catch her if she fell. A hidden shelter. After a long walk through the forest, they reached a small metal hatch buried under the roots of an old tree. Evan pressed a code, and the hatch slid open with a soft hiss. Below was a dimly lit underground shelter, small, quiet, and surprisingly clean. A few tools hung on the walls. A small cot lay in the corner, and a screen flickered with low power. Evan guided her inside. "You can sit. You're safe here." Safe, a strange word coming from a human. Ryla slowly lowered herself onto the cot, still watching him carefully. She couldn't understand him. Why would a human risk death for her? Why would he help someone? His people were fighting? Evan opened a cabinet and pulled out something wrapped in cloth. Ryla expected a device. A weapon. A scanner, but when he unwrapped it, she froze. It was a photo. Of humans. Young ones, old ones. Soldiers, engineers, and children smiling together in front of a large medical tent. A tent painted with a symbol she had never seen before, a blue circle with a white star inside. "What is that?" she asked. Evan sat beside her, holding the photo gently. "This was my team," he said. "We didn't fight, we helped people. Any people, human, alien, anyone hurt in the war." Ryla blinked in disbelief. "You helped aliens too?" Evan nodded slowly. "We saved whoever we could." Rayla stared at the picture again. Humans helping aliens? Humans smiling with them? Humans giving medicine? This went against everything she had learned since childhood. "My people told me humans were monsters," she whispered. Evan gave a sad smile. "And my people told me the same thing about yours." For a moment, the room felt heavy with the weight of lies told by two powerful governments. Her first look at the human heart. Ryla's gaze shifted from the picture to the bunker's small shelves. One shelf held small metal badges, worn and blood-stained. Medals of bravery, but among them, she saw something strange, a tiny bracelet made of colorful beads. "Too small for an adult. What is that?" she asked quietly. Evan looked at it for a long second. "It belonged to my sister," he said. Ryla hesitated. "What happened to her?" Evan took a slow breath. "She was killed during a Varnix attack years ago." The words hung in the air. Rayla felt her chest tighten. "You saved me, even though my people hurt your family?" Evan nodded once. "Because hurting you won't bring her back, and because..." I don't believe every Varnick soldier wants this war. Rayla lowered her eyes. What if I had killed your sister? She whispered. Evan didn't look angry. He looked tired. Then you wouldn't be here. But the one I met, the one in front of me, she is different. For a moment, silence filled the room, soft but powerful. Rayla looked at him, really. Looked at him and saw no hatred. Only pain and hope. Her entire belief system cracked. Her realization reel gently touched the photo. So humans can be kind? Sometimes, Evan replied. We can also be cruel. Same as your people. Same as every species. Rayla swallowed. She felt like a child learning the world again. My empire lied to us, she said finally. They showed us only the worst side of humans, never this. Evan gave a small nod. Both sides lie to keep the war going. Her breathing grew unsteady. What if everything I believed is wrong? Evan looked at her with quiet sincerity. Then you get to decide who you want to be now. That single sentence hit her harder than any enemy weapon. Ending note for Part 3. Rayla stared at the human who should have been her executioner, yet instead became the first person to show her the truth. For the first time in her life, she felt something new. Not fear, not anger, not confusion, but freedom. The freedom to question. The freedom to choose. The freedom to see humans not as monsters, but as people. And that truth was more dangerous to her empire than any weapon ever created. The underground shelter hummed softly from old power cells, but the quiet inside was fragile, too fragile. Rayla sat on the edge of the cot, staring at the photo of Evan's team again. Her chest felt heavy, full of new emotions she didn't understand. Was this really what humans were like? Or was Evan the only gentle one? Before she could ask anything more, Evan suddenly stiffened. Rayla noticed it instantly. What happened? Evan raised a hand, signaling her to stay silent. He slowly moved toward a corner panel on the wall and pressed his ear against it. At first, Rayla heard nothing. Then it came, a faint clicking sound, sharp, repetitive, mechanical. Rayla's eyes widened. Tracker drones? Evan nodded. And they're close, too close. Rayla's blood went cold. Varnick's tracker drones didn't search randomly. They locked onto scent, heat, movement, even old energy signatures. They found the tunnel. Rayla whispered. And they'll find this shelter next, Evan said. He grabbed his pack, his weapon, and 2 small cylindrical pods. Rayla recognized them, signal disruptors. Humans use them when escaping high-intelligence technology. Our time's up, he said. We need to move now. Rayla's heart pounded. What about your photo, your sister's bracelet? Evan paused for half a second, then gently placed both items inside his pack. Some things, he said softly, are worth saving. The first attack as they climbed out of the hatch into the cold night air. A sudden shrill noise cut through the forest. Rayla's eyes snapped upward. 3. Varnick's hunter drones dropped from the sky, wings folding out like blades. Their red scanners flashed across the trees. They found us. Rayla gasped. Run! Evan shouted. He threw one of the disruptors behind them. It exploded with a silent burst of blue static. 2 drones faltered mid-air, but the third swooped low, firing sharp plasma bolts. Rayla ducked as a bolt slammed into a tree, turning it into glowing ash. Evan grabbed her arm and pulled her behind a boulder. They're not going to stop, she said breathlessly. They think I betrayed them. Evan glanced at her. Did you? Rayla met his eyes. I didn't before, but I think I am now. Something flashed in Evan's expression, something like respect. But there was no time to talk. The drone split into formation, fanning out. They're circling us, Evan said. Trying to trap us. Rayla took a deep breath. Then we break the circle. Together? Evan asked. Rayla nodded. Together. Their first real fight side by side. The drone swooped again, firing a narrow plasma beam toward them. Evan rolled to the side and pulled Ryla with him. He fired upward, hitting one wing. The drone spun wildly and crashed against a rock. Ryla pushed herself up, grabbed a fallen metal shard, and hurled it at the second drone. It wasn't a direct hit, but it disrupted its scanner long enough for Evan to land a clean shot. The air lit up with sparks. The last drone rose higher, its wings opening wider. It released a long shriek-like signal. Ryla's stomach dropped. "That's a call for backup. Hunters will come," Evan aimed. "Then we take this one down fast." But Ryla stepped forward. "Let me." Before Evan could stop her, she sprinted. Forward limping, weak but determined. She used a broken tree stump to push herself off the ground and grabbed onto the drone's wing. The machine thrashed violently. Evan shouted, "Ryla!" But she didn't let go. She jammed her hand inside the drone's core and ripped out the heat stabilizer. The drone exploded into sparks, throwing her backward. Evan rushed and caught her before she hit the ground. "You're hurt," he said. Urgently, Rayla winced but smirked weakly. "At least I heard it back." Evan shook his head. "You take too many risks. And you take too much care," she replied. The betrayal message, just when they thought it was over. A deep rumble echoed behind them. Evan turned sharply. "What now?" A large hologram flickered into the air above the forest. The face was unmistakable Commander Vellner, the ruthless leader of Ryla's battalion. Ryla's heart froze. His booming voice echoed, "Ryla of the Varniks, you have betrayed your people. Execute the human you travel with, and your honor will be restored. Fail, and you will be hunted until death." The message ended. The hologram vanished. Evan looked at her silently. Ryla's hands shook. "This is real now," she whispered. "They won't stop." "And neither will I," Evan said quietly. Ryla looked at him, looked at him, and felt something shift inside her chest. Her own people wanted her dead. The human they warned her about wanted her alive. Ending note for Part 4. As the forest fell silent again, Rayla realized a harsh truth. The hunters chasing her weren't the humans. They were her own people. And standing beside her, breathing hard but ready to fight again, was the last person she ever expected to protect, the human she should have feared, but now trusted with her life. The forest had gone silent again, but Ryla felt the silence differently now. It wasn't peace, it was pressure. Heavy pressure. She and Evan hid inside a narrow cave, just large enough for two people to sit. The entrance was covered with branches to hide their shapes from scanning drones. The faint glow from Evan's wrist light cast soft shadows across the walls. Ryla hugged her knees to her chest, her breathing light and uneven. She could still hear Commander Vellner's voice echoing. In her mind, "Kill the human, restore your honor." Her hands trembled. She had been trained all her life to obey her commander's orders were everything. Disobedience was death. But now, she looked at Evan beside her, quietly checking their remaining supplies. No fear in his eyes, no anger. Only calm determination. Why? Did this human feel safer than her own people? Evan noticed her staring. "Your wounds are reopening," he said softly. Rayla lowered her eyes. "It doesn't matter." "It does," he replied. "Everything about you matters now." Ryla's breath caught for a second. Nobody had ever spoken to her like that, like she had value beyond her rank or purpose. The conversation, she never expected. For a long moment, neither spoke. The dripping sound of water echoed through the cave. Finally, Rayla gathered the courage to ask the question burning inside her. "Evan, why do you keep helping me? You could have left me many times." Evan didn't answer fast. He set down his pack, leaned his back against the cave wall, and took a slow breath. "My sister," he began. Rayla already knew the name from his photo, but she didn't know the story behind it. "She was young," Evan continued. "Too young to understand war. She believed everyone deserved kindness. One day, she found an injured alien near our old settlement. A wounded Varnic scout. Rayla's heart dropped. She helped him, Evan said softly. Fed him, hid him, treated his wounds. Rayla whispered, "What happened?" Evan's jaw tightened. He betrayed her when he was strong again. He alerted his unit. They attacked the settlement. My sister didn't survive. Rayla felt her lungs tighten. Her throat burned, yet Evan's face held no rage, only sadness. Rayla whispered, "So why save me? I'm a Varnix too." Evan turned his head to face her, eyes steady. "Because I refuse to let one person's betrayal decide how I treat every alien. My sister helped someone who didn't deserve it. But she also taught me a lesson: kindness is never wasted, even if it hurts." Rayla stared at him, stunned. He wasn't helping her because she earned it. He was helping her because she reminded him of the hope his sister once believed in. She forced out her words. "Do you see your sister in me?" Evan gave a small, sad smile. "No, I see you, a person trying to survive. Someone who deserves a chance." Those words hit her harder than any weapon. Her secret silence returned for a long minute. Then Rayla whispered, "I never wanted to be a soldier." Evan looked surprised. "You didn't?" She shook her head slowly. "I was taken from my home when I was young. My people choose children with strong energy signatures for military training. They told us we had no destiny except to fight for the Empire." Evan listened carefully, not interrupting. "I dreamed of something else, of becoming a star mapper. I wanted to study galaxies, explore peaceful worlds." Her voice cracked slightly. "But they forced us to believe humans were evil. They told us that killing you was our honor, our duty." Her eyes lifted to meet his. "But I've seen more kindness in you than in any commander I ever served." Evan didn't speak at first. He simply placed his hand gently on the ground, near hers, not touching, but close enough to feel the warmth. "You can still choose your path," he said softly. "Even now." Rayla gave a broken laugh. "My people are hunting me. I have no home anymore." Evan's voice was firm, almost protective. "Then stay with me, until we find a new one." Rayla's eyes widened. No one had ever offered her a home. Not even her own people. The new danger before she could respond. A faint humming vibration touched her skin like static electricity crawling across the air. Rayla froze. "Do you feel that?" Evan did. He grabbed his weapon instantly. Rayla's face paled. "That's not a drone. Then what is it?" Evan asked. Rayla swallowed hard. "A hunter-class soldier. They sent an elite tracker after us. Only one, but one is enough to kill an entire squad." Evan's eyes narrowed. "How long until it finds us?" Rayla whispered. "Minutes." Ending note for Part 5. Evan tightened his grip on his weapon. Rayla steadied her breath. Secrets were now revealed between them. Past pain, truth, and a bond stronger than either expected. But none of that mattered if they didn't survive the next attack. For the first time, Rayla wasn't afraid of the human beside her. She was afraid of losing him. The cave trembled. Softly, dust fell from the ceiling. Rayla didn't need scanners anymore. She could feel the hunter approaching. Hunter-class Varnic soldiers didn't walk. They glided, silently, without breathing. Without mercy, Evan tightened his grip on his weapon. "What does it want?" he whispered. Rayla's voice was barely a breath. "Me and you. It won't leave until we're both dead." Evan gave a small nod, calm and steady. "Then we don't let it reach us." But Rayla shook her head. "You don't understand. Hunter-class soldiers don't think. They don't feel. They follow one command until their body breaks." "And what command is that?" Evan asked. Rayla swallowed hard. "To kill anything I protect." Her own words hit her like a punch. She realized for the first time that she was protecting Evan. She hadn't said it aloud until now. Evan stepped closer, eyes gentle despite the danger. Then we protect each other. The hunter arrives. A faint blue glow formed at the cave entrance. The branches hiding the entrance shook. Then were sliced clean in half by something sharp and invisible. Evan grabbed Ryla's arm. Move back. But she didn't move. She stood tall, staring at the entrance with a cold understanding. A shadow stepped in. It was tall, almost 2.5 meters. Metallic skin, 4 glowing eyes. Arms ending in long curved blades that vibrated with deadly energy. The air temperature dropped instantly. Evan whispered, "That thing isn't a soldier. It's a machine." Rayla shook her head. "No, it was once alive." "But hunters are changed?" Evan asked. "Brains removed, emotions erased, turned into perfect killing tools." Evan looked horrified. "They did this to your own people?" Rayla nodded slowly. "And they will do it to me, if they catch me alive." Evan stepped in front of her without hesitation. "Not happening." The hunter tilted its head, scanning Evan first. Its mechanical voice echoed, "Human threat detected. Target for termination." Evan raised his weapon. "Come and try." "The fight begins." The hunter moved first. It didn't run. It teleported in a burst of blue light, slashing down with terrifying speed. Evan dove aside, barely escaping the blade that split the stone floor like paper. Sparks exploded everywhere. Ryla jumped forward, grabbing the hunter's arm, twisting it with trained precision. Her injured body screamed with pain, but she didn't stop. The hunter threw her away like she weighed nothing. Evan fired 3 plasma shots, direct hits. But the hunter barely flinched. Its metal skin reabsorbed the heat. "It's adapting." Rayla shouted, "Your weapon won't work twice." "Then we get creative," Evan replied. The hunter lunged again. Evan dodged to the right. Ryla rolled to the left. They had no plan, just survival. Ryla's realization during a brief moment of stillness. Rayla's eyes locked onto the hunter again. She knew him, not personally, but the pattern on his armor. It was the insignia of her own old squad, a piece of her past twisted inside her chest. She whispered, "He was once one of us." Evan looked at her. "You don't have to fight him if you don't." "What?" Rayla's eyes hardened. "No, I will. Because the Empire turned him into a monster, and they think I will become the same." She stepped in front of Evan without fear. The hunter scanned her again. "Ryla of the Varniks. Command received. Kill the human. Surrender, or be terminated." Ryla stood firm. "No." The hunter paused, confused by the disobedience. "It's programming STUTTERE." Evan whispered, "What's happening?" Rayla took a deep breath. "I used to follow their orders. I used to believe obedience was everything, but not anymore." She stepped closer, her voice strong. "I choose my own orders now." Her choice. The hunter screamed a high-pitched electronic roar and charged at Evan, choosing the easier target. Ryla moved faster. Much faster. She leaped onto the hunter's back, grabbing 2 exposed conductors near its neck. Her hands burned instantly, but she held on. The hunter tried to throw her off. She didn't let go. Evan fired at its leg, slowing it just enough. Ryla shouted, "Evan, hit the power pack on its spine." "On it." He aimed at the glowing core. Between its shoulder blades, Ryla kept the conductors apart, exposing the core. "Now!" She screamed. Evan fired. The shot hit perfectly. A blinding flash exploded, blue, white, and violent. The hunter convulsed, sparks shooting everywhere, then fell forward with a heavy crash. Silence. Complete silence. Ryla collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Her hands were burned, her body shaking. Evan ran to her and held her shoulder. "Ryla, are you okay?" She looked up at him, eyes soft but fierce. "I chose the human," she said softly, "and I don't regret it." Evan's expression melted. into something warm, something protective. And I choose you, he said, no matter how many hunters come. Ending note for Part 6. The hunters' lights faded completely. The cave felt alive again, warm, safe. But only for the moment. Rayla had made her choice, not for survival. Not for strategy. She chose the human. Because he chose her when no one else ever had. And now the entire Varnix Empire would come for both of them. The ruined cave still smelled of burned metal. Pieces of the hunter's armor flickered with dying blue sparks. Rayla sat on the cold ground, exhausted, wounded, and breathing heavily. Evan stayed beside her, refusing to move even for a second. Outside, the night wind carried a strange stillness. The kind that only comes after surviving something impossible. Rayla looked at her burned hands. Her skin was cracked, still glowing faintly from the energy she had ripped out of the hunter. Evan gently held her wrists, checking the burns. You shouldn't have done that alone, he whispered. Rayla smiled weakly. And you shouldn't have followed me into a war zone. He gave a soft laugh. For a moment, it felt like peace. But deep inside, both knew the truth. Killing a hunter-class soldier would trigger something far worse. Rayla leaned back against the wall and closed her eyes. They will come, she said. Quietly. My people will not ignore this. Evan nodded. I know. She looked at him again. This human who never stopped protecting her. My people think you are the enemy, she whispered. But you're the only reason I'm alive. Evan met her gaze with a mixture of strength and gentleness. And you're the strongest person I've ever met, Rayla. Her chest tightened. No one had ever said something like that to her. Not as a soldier, not as a person. Never. A choice with no return. The glow of distant scanners suddenly lit the forest outside. A low hum shook the ground. Rayla stood instantly. That's a dropship, she said. Varnix elites. They're here. For me. Evan raised his weapon. I won't let them take you. Rayla grabbed his arm. No, Evan, you don't understand. If they catch us together, they won't only kill me. They will punish your people too. They will start a new war. Evan held her shoulders. And if I leave you alone, they will torture you. Then turn you into a hunter. I won't let that happen either. Rayla stared at him, heart pounding. She hated that he was right. We have two choices, she whispered. Run. Or surrender. Evan's voice stayed calm. We're not surrendering. Rayla gave a sad, broken smile. I thought you'd say that. A dangerous plan. Evan took out the last signal disruptor from his pack and placed it near the cave entrance. This won't stop the elites, Rayla warned. Their tech is more advanced. It doesn't need to stop them, Evan replied. Just delay them, Rayla blinked. For what? For us to escape through the old river path. Her eyes widened. The river? She whispered. It's freezing. And the currents are violent. Evan shrugged slightly. So is your empire. Rayla stared at him, this strange, brave human who treated danger like a small inconvenience. Evan, why do you risk everything for me? She asked, voice trembling. He looked at her with an honesty that made her breath stop. Because I've spent too many years watching people die, he said. And maybe saving you is the first right thing I've done in a long time. Her heart felt heavy and light at the same time. Their final escape and explosion rattled the cave entrance. Blue flames burst across the trees. They found us. Rayla said urgently. Evan activated the disruptor. A shield of static energy flared up. This way. He shouted. They ran into the darkness, branches slashing against their arms. Behind them, the Varnix elites roared orders. Find Rayla. Kill the human. Rayla grabbed Evan's hand and pulled him faster. You saved me, she whispered. Now let me save you. They reached the edge of a cliff. Below, the ancient river churned violently cold, chaotic, merciless. Evan glanced down. Looks friendly, Rayla almost smiled. This is our only chance." The ground shook behind them. Varnek's elites broke through the trees, towering soldiers with glowing armor and long energy rifles. "There they are!" one shouted. Evan and Ryla stood on the cliff edge. For a moment, everything slowed down. The cold wind, the river roaring below, the elites raising their weapons. Evan squeezed her hand. "Jump with me," Ryla whispered. "Always." They jumped. A new future. Cold water swallowed them. Evan's hand never left hers. The river pulled them violently, dragging them deep. Underground through stone tunnels, Ryla gasped for air whenever the current pushed them upward. Evan swam beside her, protecting her from sharp rocks. Minutes passed like hours, until finally the water pushed them out into a quiet, underground lake illuminated by faint glowing crystals. Ryla coughed and dragged herself onto a soft patch of sand. Evan collapsed beside her, breathing hard. They were alive. Ryla rolled onto her side and stared at him. He looked exhausted, soaked, bruised, but still smiling. "You're impossible," she whispered. Evan chuckled. "I get that a lot." She moved closer, her voice soft and trembling. "Evan, my people will think I'm dead. Your people don't know where we are. We have no home now." Evan looked at her gently. "Then let's build a new one. Together." Rayla's eyes filled with emotion. Not fear, not confusion. Something warmer. Something deeper. A bond stronger than orders. Stronger than war. Stronger than the past. Together. She repeated softly. Final scene. A legend begins above the underground lake. A tiny crack in the wall revealed a sky full of stars. Ryla looked at them with wonder. "For the first time," she whispered, "I'm free." Evan stood beside her, placing his jacket on her shoulders. "And for the first time," he said quietly, "I'm not alone." Two enemies who were never meant to meet now stood side by side, lost but alive. A human who refused to kill. An alien who refused to obey. Two souls who chose each other over war. And somewhere far above them, commanders on both sides wondered how a simple human act of mercy would soon change the fate of two galaxies forever.